Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel here at Uprise Astrology Podcast. My name is Aileen. I am an astrologer and a tarot reader. And what we're going to cover in today's video is going to be the upcoming new moon in Scorpio and what it all means for all my Gemini friends. This video can be watched for Gemini sun or rising, but your rising sign will give you the most accurate picture because the rising sign actually gives us where the energies are most likely playing out for you. It's a general reading. Of course, sometimes that can change depending on the degree of your rising sign, but the rising sign usually gives us a much better prediction as to where the energies are playing out for you in your life. Now, we're going to cover charts. We're going to take a look at the charts and take a look at what's happening in the houses for you, Gemini. We're also going to do a mini tarot reading at the very end. And this video is going to be covering the first 2 weeks of that new moon cycle. So basically anything that happens from the new moon in Gemini before that full moon in Taurus that is going to be coming up. Real quick, before I get started, I want to let everybody know that my one-on-one readings, the in-person readings, are fully booked until April of 2022. So those readings are open if you want to book a reading for next year and kind of figure out what is coming up for you next year. However, I know that sometimes we don't have time to do an entire hour reading or we don't want to wait that long. So I rolled out a new reading that is called the Astro Forecast reading. This reading is available now on my website. It's a recorded reading. I deliver it within 14 business days. And you get to specify what you want to take a look at. So within those 30 minutes, I dive into the most important messages for you, whether that is wanting to take a look at for the next year, wanting to take a look at for the month ahead. You get to pick the time frame. So you just pick it from the drop-down menu or the drop-down options when you're filling everything out. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. So let's pull up the charts. I always feel like I'm going through a Mercury retrograde version right now of everything that I'm doing here. So I apologize for all of the back and forth with my words. I'm going to get it together here in just a moment. So we're going to pull up the charts for you, Gemini. Let's take a look at what is going to be happening for you when that new moon is unfolding. And I would just want to share with you real quick that the image I keep having of this new moon, when I meditated, when I reflected upon what this new moon is going to be about, is almost like we're getting the car keys to our very first car ever. It's like, that's our car. We can get into it. We can start driving. And there's sort of this weird emotional currency of it's new, it's sort of exciting, but at the same time, we have no idea what's going to happen when we get into the car and we start driving, like where we're going to go. And so I feel like this is going to be one of those new moons that is going to reflect an exciting new time. And that's what this new moon is all about. It is at 12 degrees. The sun in Scorpio, the moon together conjoined at 12 degrees in Scorpio. And it is going to change the story for the future, but it's changing it to what is happening actually in the moment. So all throughout the month, you guys are going to be working on your lifestyle and lifestyle patterns and changing those patterns for yourself. Let me just point out to you exactly where this is happening. Well, it is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house very often to me is sort of like, I call it the obstacle course, It has to do with the moment that you wake up until you go to bed. What do you do when you wake up first thing in the morning? What are some of the patterns that you have? What are some of the, rituals you have? What are some of the things that you do every single day? Well, you guys are going to be working on changing these things up. Why are you changing it up? Because this new moon is going to also be in an opposition to Uranus. The themes of Uranus here are going to be all about sort of you diving into a wake-up call by knowing that certain things really speak to you, certain faiths, certain spiritual aspects really speak to you. And as a result, you are going to be changing your daily habits because you don't want to continue the way that you have been. Something like that shakes you up here a little bit. So there is a deep desire and a new aim that comes out of it. Uranus in the 12th house for you has a lot to do. The 12th house is God consciousness. The 12th house is spirituality. It is faith. It can sometimes have to do with institutions as well, where we go like on a retreat or we're going somewhere to kind of help ourselves, right? To become whole again or to take some time off away from everything else. It could have themes around that for you. It doesn't have to. Very often, in a simple kind of way, it is oceanic consciousness, God consciousness, the consciousness of cosmos, whatever spiritual sort of alignment is for you, what you define, that's what the 12th house is going to be here for you. Those are the types of themes we're taking a look at. With Uranus here, it really shakes up like Uranus and Taurus. What are the essential needs? Taurus says we have to up level our worth in this area. And perhaps you've been working on this for quite some time, but now the storyline is going to change because it is becoming a lot more real in the 6th house for you, because that's where Scorpio is at, and you're drawing the line and you're going to make some necessary changes. But also Mars is here in Scorpio now, where it's exalted. You are going to get things done. You're going to have the energy to do things. And that is what the most important aspect here is going to be for a lot of you, okay? Sometimes this can have to do also with like a work situation, like coworkers or things where you're going to have to draw the line so that you can actually change sort of a particular pattern here with this as well. But I do see in general, this will have to do with the impacts on lifestyle. So let's move on to the next transit that is going to be really important for a lot of you guys. And that has to do with November 10th. There is going to be another transit that is going to be unfolding here for you on November 10th. And that has a lot to do with Mercury and Mars being in Scorpio. And Mercury and Mars in Scorpio are going to be in your 6th house. At 7 degrees is when they're going to come together. What is this? This is you having a new insight and a deep sort of intuition that you now have to have this goal, and this goal has to get executed. So your mind is going to be on like sort of a one-track mind with the goal of getting things done, with the goal of really getting to the truth of the matter. Because something here feels a little bit overburdened. Why do I say that? This has to do with you knowing that you now must take responsibility for how you're trying to aim for your higher picture. Okay, it has to do with the higher picture because Mercury and Mars are going to be forming a square to the 9th house where Saturn is at. Okay, the 9th house is the higher consciousness. It is the house of belief. It is the house of all the things that we get educated on that allows for us to expand our mind. So here is Saturn direct in the 9th house, basically saying you're wanting to change the way in which you approach the higher picture, what it is that you believe in, the things that you want to, get more educated on, or the things that you're wanting to bring in as more knowledge, or expanding your consciousness. The day-to-day has to change. And that is where I think you are going to be working out a lot more of sort of your boundaries when it comes to that, because Scorpio has to do with boundaries, but it also has to do for you here with trusting yourself to do it now. And I think that natural trust is going to be given just because of the way that the planets are moving this month with this new moon. I'm really getting that for a lot of you Geminis, you're starting to make a new declaration of how things are going to go. Let's move on to the next one. Really great, chart for a lot of the Geminis. I really like this energy for you. Let's go to the 12th. The 12th, that is where the sun is going to be at Scorpio at 20 degrees, still in the 6th house, really illuminating the day-to-day. So you're making a lot of great, meaningful changes here in the day-to-day and how you really want to take care of yourself, take care of the things that you absolutely need to take care of, because it is at a root level now necessary, right? So now here you're expanding sort of the emotional value of things, because the sun is going to be not only in Scorpio at 20 degrees, but it's also going to be forming a trine. If I can draw a circle, the sun is going to be forming a trine to Neptune in the 10th house. And this will have a lot to do with your legacy. This will have a lot to do with your deliberate actions that you're taking when it comes to your legacy, when it comes to really meaningful action, right? Things that you're trying to do in life that will leave something meaningful behind, either for you or even impact other people around you. It can also have to do with your public reputation. It can have to do with your career goals. And so the storyline here continues to change by you feeling like the purpose of what you're doing is changing. The meaning of what you're doing is changing. And for the first time in many years, it is going to feel like you are divinely connected to this new purpose. And it's a new day of validation. A trine is a harmonious aspect. If you're new to astrology, this is going to be something that is going to be so meaningful to you here, that change that you're creating between your day-to-day and what you're doing in your career, that you feel that there is a real sense of overcoming this aspect now, that you can dive into this new purpose, into this new thing, but you feel devoted and you know that the storyline is going to change for years to come. And I think that the potential here is that you're going to feel a renewed sense. That devotion is going to bring you a new renewed sense. So that's what I'm seeing here before that full moon for you, Gemini. Let's dive into the quick tarot reading. It is going to be a 7-card spread that we're going to be taking a look at. The 7-card spread is going to have specific positions of the cards. I'm going to let you know all of them, what they mean, and what is going to be coming up here for you over the next 2 weeks before that full moon, okay? So let's dive into that. I'm going to be sharing my screen for the cards with you. Let's get right into it. And so, all right, you should be able to see this next screen now. We are going to be taking a look at the cards. The very first card is going to be any kind of new insights we need to get for this particular moon cycle. What are the general themes, right? What are the general themes here for you? And a couple of cards already fell out, so let me just pick them up from the ground. All right, we're going to go through these one by one. The very first card is the Page of Wands. A lot of what you're doing this month is going to feel like a crossroads. You are headed in a new direction. You are really going to change not only the story in your day-to-day rhythm, but you're going to change the course of the future. And it's going to feel really big at times. And also at times, it's also going to have this theme of like, wow, you know, what does the other side look like? It's almost like an unknown. Okay, it's an unknown. It's a part of you where you also, for me, with the Page of Wands, this is a theme where you're wanting to stand tall and really stand in your truth. This has a lot to do with your truth and the actual knowledge that you have of certain aspects of your day-to-day. And it'll have to do, there's some other people tied to it, but the impacts of those people from the past. Maybe you didn't get to do something that you really wanted to do based on certain relationships, but those relationships may not be in your life right now. It just is that you didn't maybe have the support. You didn't have the support you were looking for, or perhaps you were discouraged to do something just because of that interaction that you had. So this month, you're going to come back to this crossroads with that. That's a theme. What is the emotional value this month? Learning all new. You are really coming into this all new. I also feel like you're going to come into this very mindful with other people. Mindfulness comes up here with the Fool for me, for you, is that no matter how much there is noise going on around you, we see that with the dog barking around him. No matter how much noise is going on around you, you are going to be mindful in speaking your truth with other people. And you're also not going to be afraid to reveal your warm nature. So you're going to meet that. It's almost like a meet and greet in a way with anything that comes up this month, where you're going to be mindful of what it is that you need, but also what it is that other people need. And this is going to be huge, because what you're really asked to aim for this month, what the cards are suggesting, is the Ace of Swords. And that is to know that sometimes in the past, when you would say things, it would come out sharp. It would come out blunt. It just did. It just did. And words were mistaken for criticism. But there's a new beginning here when it comes to you sharing what it is that you need, or how it is that you want to move through your life and how you want to feel supported. And there's a lot of new epiphanies you're going to get from this, because there's a part of you that feels restored. There's a part of you that is going to feel more restored. There's a part of you that is going to feel a lot more warm towards things that you used to be cold towards, okay? Now, how to best support yourself this month is to truly close some chapters. I feel like there is a particular relationship that you are, do I want to say avoiding? Maybe you're avoiding this portion, but not anymore. This month, you're not going to avoid this anymore. This month, you're like, okay, well, I gotta deal with this. You're wanting to move on. There's certain situations that don't work for you anymore. They used to give you something, maybe like there was an exchange of like you proving to yourself that you could do something. Maybe you learned a lot from the situation, but now it's time to move on from it. And it's not as emotional as you think it's going to be. That's another thing here. Maybe a part of you is avoiding it because you feel like it is going to be emotional, but it could be a work relationship. For a lot of you, it's going to be a work relationship. For a lot of you, it is going to be some kind of friendship that you're wanting to move forward from. But I also feel like the most important message here with the Eight of Cups is that bring gratitude into the picture. Keep your heart attuned to that. Keep your heart attuned to gratitude. Keep your heart on that, because that's it. Sometimes we have to close certain chapters, and that's what it's going to feel like almost. I feel like, for you here. If you're wanting to close some doors, the energy is supporting you. All right. The next card is going to represent the most growth aspect of this month. The Death card. What's the Death card at its root? Let's talk about that, because the Death card has a lot to do with certain things just dying off in your life, right? Like there is an embracing of a new mindset that starts to kick in. We see that with the Ace of Swords. And the growth aspect here is that the more that you're embracing a new mindset, the more that you're embracing a new, bigger picture for your life, the more you're going to be able to overcome challenges and obstacles that you used to think you were stuck with forever. And you don't like that. I know you don't like that. And so for here, I see for the first 2 weeks, you're going to really just be in this place where you realized it was truly darkest before dawn type of feeling, almost like all this year, you were in situations where you're like, wow, is this going to happen? I don't want to say that you were losing hope, but there was a part of you that felt like, I got to move through this pain. And it had to do with relationship. And it also had to do with creative aspects, like being able to just bring some change into your life. And it just didn't happen. So here with the Death card, we're just seeing that now you're at that point. And sometimes what can happen is that you feel the sense of void. Okay, allow for that to exist. The sun is rising again. Okay, even though you're headed into Scorpio season, the sun is rising again. Okay, based on a new spiritual devotion. And that is truly the key. Look at the next card. This card is a card that represents the emotional sort of currency in relationships right now for you. New relationships. Some of you are going to have such a new beginning when it comes to your relationships, but not only that, it is that you feel that this person has been brought to you for a reason. This person has been brought into the picture for a reason. This career relationship, this particular relationship, or even if you're in a committed relationship, right? A part of you is going to know now what to do to overcome these stresses from the past. It is such a powerful reading. Look at that. Fool, the Death, the Magician. It's a big month. So a part of you has to allow for things to be cut out. That's what we see with the Death card here. And maybe you are afraid because you don't know what the other side is going to look like, just because you've been stuck in this weird energy that honestly, all of us have been stuck in this energy. Okay. So here you're going to just get the opportunity to start something new, and it is going to feel amazing. Wait until that full moon is going to unfold. You're going to, some of you are also starting a new money project, or you're headed towards a new money project. It's going to come out of this, but more on that later. Okay, more on that later in the other months to come. Look at the next card. What is the most important aspect here for you, Gemini, this month? Follow your path. I'm going to clarify this. Follow your path. It's the Hermit. right? Follow your own. What did you learn from everything that's happened so far? If you could name 3 things that you have learned, what are those things for you? Follow that, and everything else is going to be in the past. It's going to be in the past. Because why? Because you're closing out these chapters that really taught you a part about you that have a lot to do with, that was the old version of you. That was the part of you that hustled. That was the part of you that did all of those things. Perhaps because you were afraid to slow down. You were afraid to take a look at certain ingredients that were missing. You knew you wanted to work on those, but it just never really, you didn't have the time to focus on it at that moment. Okay. So this year you focus on those things and you just like kind of hyper jump through it. And that is the epiphany you're going to have this like 2-week period, because a part of you is going to realize that everything you've been doing, you actually have been changing. You have been adding a lot more value into your life. You've been adding a lot more things into your life that now are leading to a much greater, bigger picture that will have a lot more purpose and a lot more meaning for you. But you are in that discovery period. And sometimes when you're in the discovery period, you don't realize that you are. And so that is going to be the big epiphany for you here, Gemini. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you like this video. It helps me out greatly. Make sure that you subscribe and you ring that notification bell, or you hit that notification bell, because that way we get, we get connected and we also stay connected, right? And you get notified every time I put out a new episode. Again, I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, Gemini. Bye.